Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Fame with Tiffany Renee. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are returning or you've been here before, welcome back. Always great to see you. And I want to thank you all for supporting my channel, whether you are a subscriber or you're just passing through. I appreciate all the love and support that I receive on my channel as it grows. And I appreciate all the wonderful comments and the wonderful stories, success stories that you all are sharing about your manifestations. I absolutely love reading them. So thank you, thank you, thank you all so much. I appreciate it. Um, Feel free to like, share, subscribe if the spirit moves you. I know it's been a little minute since I posted a video, but I wanted to jump on here because I want to do a manifestation success story slash, I guess, aha moment. So, um, anyone out there also who is celebrating Ramadan Mubarak, because I am also celebrating Ramadan. So, let's get into this video. I don't want to make it too long, which I say in all of my videos. So let's jump into it. So I love Todrick Hall. Okay. If you don't know who Todrick Hall is, feel free to Google him, or he's on YouTube as well. Basically, he was on American Idol some years ago, and he made it like to the main stage. Like he was one of the top 10 or 20 like finalists. So he was on American Idol, and he went on from there to, he didn't win, but he was like one of the contestants. And from there, he blew up on YouTube doing like this like flash mob to Beyonce's song "End of Time" in Target. A lot of people know about that. And then Beyonce herself saw it, and then gave him a shout out, and then he just really kind of blew up from there. And he does all these really super cool things on YouTube, these like pop sequences, or for different artists. Some are R&B, some from like 90s eras, and he does Disney stuff. And he's done these different videos, and he's done this Straight Out of Oz, which is amazing, and Forbidden, which is amazing. And he's done his albums, House Party 1, 2, and 3, and most recently Feminine, his most recent album. And he's worked with Taylor Swift, which a lot of people know him from that. He's in RuPaul's Drag Race. He's been a special guest in RuPaul's Drag Race many, 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 many times. He even had his own show on MTV for a little while. And he was recently on the new like MTV Cribs, I think, recently as well. And so Todrick Hall is very talented, uh, singer, songwriter, producer, director, choreographer. He's really creative. He's really one of my favorite artists. I think he's a very, very creative talent. And I don't necessarily think he always gets the recognition that he deserves, which a lot of artists don't, unfortunately. The ones who are really, really, really talented. And I think he needs to be in much bigger rooms. If he isn't already like sitting at tables working on albums for some of the biggest artists in the industry. I really do, because he has the way he writes, the formatting of how he approaches songs, and the musicality, like the way his production quality, and just the way he does it, the format of how he writes and produces tracks. A lot of artists are not doing that. Many artists follow a very similar format, and so some of their music kind of sounds kind of the same just because the format is the same. But his formats are always different, and within the same song you have all these different levels of I don't know, of lyrics and sounds, and it's just so cool. He's like so dope. And so back in 2020, like September of 2020, I was watching a bunch of his videos, and I was watching like Straight Outta Oz like a million times. Right. And I just had this passing thought, like, to the universe, like, I would love to see him live one day. Like, I would love for him to come to Indianapolis so I could be front row and see him in concert. I would love to do a painting for him. You know, for those of you who don't know, I do paintings and custom paintings and stuff, mostly for different artists and stuff, but in Arabic. And I would love to do a painting for him and give it to him. And I would love to meet him because I think he's super talented. And that was my thought. And I just kind of let it go. You know what I mean? And every time I would just watch his videos, I'd be like, can he come to Indianapolis? Like, I would really love him to come to. I would love to meet him. I would love to see him live. And that was just my thought, and I let it go. And you know, I follow him on Instagram and stuff like that. And then, you know, fast forward to April 7th, which was just 2 days ago, of 2022. He was here on his Femulin tour, and he was downtown at the Old National Center in the theater, and I was in the front. And when I tell you, he slayed the house down. I got my whole life. Okay, I was jamming so hard. Okay, I got his attention a couple of times because I do the most at concerts. I was jamming. I had my long ponytail in, hunty. I was, yes, doing the most. And I had my headband and I had my tie-dye. Like, yes, I was living my best life. And he was singing and he was dancing, and his dancers are phenomenal. And I got to meet a couple of them after the show, and some of them liked, you know, my posts about the show that I posted on Instagram, and they are just amazing, and their stories and their journeys are beautiful. And he has some of the best dancers. I go to a lot of shows. I've seen a lot of concerts, and that is one of the best shows I've ever seen. And I just could not believe that I was there. And he sang this beautiful ballad, and he was singing, and he kept saying, like, you are beautiful, you are enough. And I was just bawling my eyes out because, you know, I get emotional, and I was crying because every word was resonating with me. And he was talking about how he had to learn how to love himself and all this stuff. And I was just crying and crying, and he noticed and he just was singing to me. And there's a part that I had, I was trying to record him, and I was like dabbing my face, you know, trying, because I was crying so much. And he looked at me, he just said, you are enough. And I just like lost it. I was like crying so much. But after the show, I was asking the venue, like, if they had put the painting, you know, in his dressing room or whatever, and they didn't know where it was. So they had to radio to find it. And he was coming back up to do the meet and greet in the area where the show was, because it was standing only, and where the show was. And then even his production manager was like, we don't see it. We couldn't find it. So they had to radio, and they brought it up. They found it. And I said, can you just give it to me? And then, you know, since he'll be up here, maybe I can, you know, find a way to get it to him. And they brought it up, and I found his production manager, and I said, found the painting, like, here it is, you know, do you think, you know, he'd take it? And then he was like, oh yeah, absolutely. And he was like, well, do you have a meet and greet pass, you know? And I was like, no, you know, actually I don't. I couldn't get one. And then he just went ahead and gave me one, and they were like 2 separate lines, and he put me in the VIP line, and I was able to get in line and give Todrick the painting, and he said it was beautiful. And then he saw my nails, and he thought they were like amazing. So I don't know if you can see if it'll focus. Are you gonna focus, camera? Okay, I don't know if you can see them. There we go. So anyway, so he thought they were like super cool. He was like, oh my god, I love you. He's like, look at your nails. And I was like, I did them just for you. Did them myself. And natural nails, baby. Did them myself. You know, I do my nails myself all the time. So I was like super happy. I'm like, oh my god, Todrick Hall loved my nails, right? And I just said to him, I said, the vibration of your voice just touched my soul. And he was like, I know, I saw you. And I was like, I'm singing this song to her. This is her song. And I just couldn't believe that I was like sitting there talking to him. Now, in my mind, you know, like, I was just had all these things going in my head, like, while I was standing in line of what I wanted to say to him, you know. when you like people, you like artists, and you've kind of been following them for a little while, or even if you're new to them, and you admire things about them, and you're like, oh my gosh, if I have a chance to meet them, this is what I will tell them. This is what I'd say to them, and you just come up with all these things that you would kind of rehearse in your mind that you would say to them, and then when you get in front of them, all of that goes out the window. And I've met a lot of people, and I don't usually get nervous per se. I mean, there's a little bit of nerves there because you're like meeting them for the first time. But I've never like when I if I do freak out, I freak out like after I've met them. Like, I stay composed and poised, and then like I'll go to my car and freak out and scream. you know, Never freaked out like in front of them, right? But it was a really great experience. Like, he was, very, very nice, and he was so sweet, and his performance was fantastic. And again, let this be another confirmation to anybody out there that, very similar to the story I told on how I manifested meeting Busta Rhymes with no resistance. Like, it was a very similar situation. I just had a thought while I was listening to his song again. It'd be nice to meet Busta Rhymes. I would love to meet Busta Rhymes and watch and see him live and like even pay. And all of that happened. You know what I mean? This is the same with Todrick, because the bridge of incidents that had to happen for this Todrick Hall situation to occur was a lot, right? So I thought of it, I just kind of put it out there in the universe back in, I want to say, September of 2020. And a lot of us were still kind of quarantining, right? We know what was happening in 2020. So there was a lot of things that had to transpire. The bridge of incidents was broad, right? So the universe had to piece together a lot of cooperative components to make that happen. A lot of behind the scenes work, not just on, of course, on my end, but on his end, and then on the global end. Okay. So we're talking about, it had to be like in a place where venues were going to be open again, where, we were going to even be allowed to gather again. You know what I mean? That had to be in place. Where concerts were even going to be allowed, that had to be in place. Where Todrick was even going to work on another album, that had to be in place. Where that album would need to be promoted, and music videos and singles would be released, and a tour would have to be set up. That had to be put in place. And cities, in my city, Indianapolis, would have to have been put on the list of cities to stop in, because I specifically asked the universe for him to come to Indianapolis. That had to have been put on the list, right? Because he also went to the neighboring cities. He went to Chicago. He was in Columbus, Ohio. He was in Kentucky. You know what I mean? But I specifically asked for Indianapolis, and Indianapolis had to be put on the list, and it was on the list. Do you see what I'm saying? And then, just to have the tour put together, and, the dancers and the costumes, and then have the venue booked, you know what I mean? And because a lot of the shows were outdoors, a lot of the concerts were outdoors because they didn't want people inside. So the venue was inside. Like, there were all of these things, obviously, on his end to get set up as the bridge of incidents. But then on my end, I had to be, well on my end and be able to get my ticket and, everything to be working out for me, because again, since the pandemic, I lost my job like a lot of other people, and it hasn't been easy trying to replace the type of job that I had and the type of money that I was making, you know what I mean? Since I lost in the pandemic, and, they were not inviting a lot of people back. Like, there's just a whole lot of things with that job that just didn't work out, and I wasn't able to go back to that one. And so I've been trying to replace that income. So I still don't have a steady stream of income coming in. So the universe has been just supplying my needs by just dropping coin randomly into my life to take care of bills or to sustain me. And I've been able to get the occasional concert ticket. And I was able to get ticket to see his show. And that had to work out. The bridge of incidents had to work out for the timing to be able to do that. And just everything. When I said the bridge of incidents was broad to create this situation, this scenario, for me to have the money to get the art supplies, for me to create the painting, for me to just even be inspired to do the painting, and then just to have the vision of the finished product of what it was going to be, and just all of that, and I got there, and then the staff was great, and then just for it to have been misplaced, and for me to have just run into the right person who had the radio, and they knew about it, and then they had the right person bring it up, and then the production manager was right there, and he saw it. He was like, yeah, no problem here. Well, I'll go ahead and put you in the VIP so you can give it to him yourself, which he didn't have to do. He could have just took it and just gave it to him and was like, well, I'll just give it to him and, take care. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, the cooperative components all worked out, and I was still able to see him live. I was in the front row, well, it was standing only, but I got to the front. I was able to get a fast pass, but even though like VIP people came in first, I just envisioned one small spot available for me in the front. And I kid you not, I walked in and there were already, a decent amount of people up there near the front. And I thought, okay, there's going to be a spot. And I saw one spot in between two guys. And I said, is this spot taken? And sorry. And the kid next to me said no. And I say kid because he was 16. Going to his first concert, and it was Todrick Hall with his dad, and it was so cute. And he was like, nope, no one's standing here. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, I got my front row right in front of the speakers, right? And the speakers was loud, but it was great. It was right where I needed to be, right at the corner. I got some great footage, and it was perfect. So I got the front row. I was right in the front where I wanted to be. I was able to do the painting like I wanted, and I was able to meet him after the show and got a picture with him and give him the painting, like everything. And it was in my city. Like everything still worked out. Granted, it took like a year and a half, for the cooperative components to line up because of everything else that was going on, but it still manifested. Do you see what I'm saying? And all I did was have one real like moment where I just sat, just feeling gratitude for him first. You know what I mean? Because I felt grateful for his art and his talent. You know what I mean? I was feeling gratitude for Todrick, really. And I was like watching straight out of eyes, and I was like, this guy is super talented. Like, and I could feel the emotion of just the joy that it was bringing me, because we're in the middle of the pandemic, and it was lifting my spirits, and I could feel it, and I felt gratitude for him. You know what I mean? For him sharing his talent and that talent. And I was just like, it'd be really nice, universe, to see that. Like, it would be so nice. Abraham Hicks talks about the wouldn't it be nice a lot. Wouldn't it be nice if? It would be so nice. And everything that I said, it would be so nice to see him live, to be in the front, for him to be in my city, to give him a painting, and to actually meet him. And my friends know that I love me some Todrick Hall, right? And those are the things I asked for. And even though it took a year and a half, I wasn't stressed about it. I really didn't think anything else about it. Like, you know what I mean? At all. And then he put out the album, about a month or two ago, the Femulan album recently. And then next thing you know, a tour was announced. You know what I mean? Like early this year. And then lo and behold, my city was one of the first cities, like, in the first leg of the tour. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Like, are you serious? And then just to have everything work out the way it did, the universe always comes through. Listen, I'm telling you, the universe is always listening. The universe hears you, even if you think it's just a fleeting thought. Okay, I said this in my previous video about me manifesting meeting Busta Rhymes too. Like, the universe always listens. It's just, it doesn't matter how fleeting of a thought. Actually, that's kind of when it's a sure thing. If you just think about something one time and you just truly feel like, yeah, it would be really, really nice. And you just have that feeling like, yeah. And you're done. Like, and you don't think about it again, that should really be your confirmation that it's about to show up. Because you have no resistance, you have really no doubt, you're not thinking about it, it's not on your mind 24/7, you're not worried about it, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, it's gonna show up, I don't want to say faster, right? But it will show up through the path of least resistance. Like, it can be quicker. I'm not gonna say this wasn't fast, but I guess considering the circumstances, it was, because we were in the middle of a pandemic. You know what I mean? And the fact that, it was, even though 2020 seemed like it's been a while, it hasn't really been that long. It was just a year and a half ago. It's hard to believe, right? It's just been a year and a half. It was just September, like September of 2020 is when I had this thought, and it's April of 2022, right? So just barely a year and a half, right? Barely, not even quite a full year and a half, like a year and a bit, but I get it. Like, I wasn't pressed about it, you know what I'm saying? But everything still worked out beautifully. It couldn't have worked out better. It couldn't have worked out better. Like, when you just set your intention, set your desire, and let it go, the way it unfolds is unbelievable. Don't even worry about how long. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about time. Don't worry about nothing. It just let it do its thing. Because when you just set the intention that you want something through the path of least resistance in the most harmonious way, it is going to show up. Whatever that looks like, the time frame, it's based on different factors. Some of it can be based on your belief of how long you think it's going to have to take to happen, but some of it's other parameters, like with this one, stuff out of our control, like the pandemic, stuff like that. There were just so many other factors, but I still think it happened very quickly. And in spite of it taking over a year for it to manifest, the fact that it still did, I'm just still blown away by that. And then when it did, it was everything. It was, oh my God, it was everything I wanted. And I even scripted about it January of this year, because I remembered that. I remembered it because by that time I knew that he was going on tour. Because I think it was announced maybe like in December, late last year, I think it was. Maybe the tour was announced. And I remembered that he was going on tour. And I put it in my scripting journal from January of this year that I was going to see Todrick Hall as well, just as a reminder. You know what I mean? And it still just solidified the manifestation. And so that is the success story, okay? You can be, do, or have anything that you want. Circumstances don't matter. Circumstances don't matter. Just trust in your desire, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Don't worry about the when or the how. It is going to happen. I didn't know when, and I didn't know how. I just said it would be really nice, universe. I would really like this to happen. I would love to have this experience, and the experience was brought to me, and it was incredible. Now the aha moment, because I said there was the success story, which was that, and then there was an aha moment. Now, remember when I said I was standing in line And I was thinking of all these things to say to him. And, all these things running through my head. Like, okay, do I tell him how, like, amazing he is and how awesome his music is and how inspiring his music is really and how talented of an artist I think he is, and just just all these type of things, and just kind of gush over him, and stuff, the way like some of the other people were. And because I really do, really, really, really do admire him tremendously. He's an incredible artist, really, really is. And then, I had told some other people about the manifestation story. Like one girl who was standing behind me, because she's totally into that too. She's totally into like energy and law of attraction. So she was here with me, and we had joked about it. And so I was like, so you guys are welcome, okay? You're welcome. I manifested this concert for y'all, so it was hilarious. We had a good time about that. But I think I talked to like some of his dancers too. I think I told them this too. I can't remember. But anyway, I was like really trying to think of the best thing that I wanted to tell him, because I wanted to meet him for so long. And I was just going through my head, like, what do you want to say? What do you want to say to him? And I was really trying to think, like, okay, do I want to tell him how, this song is amazing to me? Or do I want to tell him this? Or do I want to tell him that? Or do I want to tell him how I love this about him? Or, anyway, next thing I know, it's my turn, right? I'm at the front of the line. I hand him the painting, like I said before. Said that it was beautiful. He talked about my nails and talked about the song, him singing the song, and how it was emotional and everything. And then I said, I just want to tell you this real quick, because I know you got a lot of people waiting on you. And I ended up telling him the manifestation story, right? About how I was sitting at my computer in September of 2020. And I just asked the universe, like, I would love to see him in concert. I would love to meet him. I'd love to give him a painting and all that. And I said, and here I am. I can't believe it. Like, you're here, you're in my city. I'm right here, right now. And I said, so if anything, I just hope this inspires you, that no matter what happens, the universe is always listening. The universe is always listening to you. Your prayers are always being answered. Like, it's always listening to you. Even when these haters try to come for you, the universe is always listening to you, and your prayers are always being answered no matter what. And I said, so I just want to say thank you. And he was just like, he was just listening patiently, and he was just like, just listening with his beautiful green eyes, just patiently listening and everything. And then he just said, thank you so much. And then he gave me a hug, and we took our picture, which I will insert some point in this video, probably at the end of the video. And that was that. And so, after that, and I thanked his production manager, and, he was like, oh, no problem. And almost immediately, I went to grab my coat, and I just felt like this weird energy, like face plant, like palm plant to the face or whatever. And I was like, holy crap. Like, did I just like look really stupid just now? I was like, did I just embarrass myself, like, in front of Todrick Hall? Like, should I have said that? Like, why of all things did I tell him that story? Why didn't I just like gush over him and tell him how amazing he was? Why did I tell him that story? Why did I tell him that I manifested him? Why? Okay. Anyway, why did I tell him that I manifested him, and that the universe is listening to him, and that his prayers always answer? Like, why did I even say that? And so I ended up getting in my car, and I was just feeling like I felt this like heaviness, and I should have felt elated, because it's like, oh, holy crap, I actually got to meet him. You know what I mean? My manifestation happened. It materialized. And like, why do I feel heavy? Why do I feel this like embarrassment? Like, why do I feel embarrassed? You know what I mean? Like, I embarrassed myself, And so I was thinking, like, okay, I need to explore this, because it's nothing that he did at all. It has absolutely nothing to do with him. He was very nice. He was very patient and very sweet. He was probably tired and hungry, and he was being very gracious, and he listened to me tell him that. he had lied to a lot of people, you know what I mean? And he was just he was being wonderful. But it was this is about me. And I said, this is something that I need to explore. And I've been feeling like this for the last 2 days, ever since Thursday night when I left. And I'm like, why do I feel like this? And I had talked to a couple of my friends and told them the story, and they're like, well, I mean, you didn't say anything bad or anything. Like, why do you feel? And I'm like, I don't know. And so, this is how I process things. I talk about it. This is how I process. Trying to understand why. And I remembered Brown and Bendy. Shout out to Brown and Bendy, Dominique Davis. You guys know I love her. I talk about her all the time. And she had this one video where she said that she was getting her nails done one time, I believe. And that she would talk to her, the manicurist, and, they would have, conversation. And then she would, I guess the manicurist would say, hey, how are things going in your life, whatever. And she would talk about her manifestation journey and all the things that she's been manifesting, and that she's, things that she's been praying for, and then how, she would just talk all about like manifestation and law of attraction and just energy and all that type of stuff, right? And then, I'm paraphrasing here, but it's something along these lines. And then how the nail tech would kind of be like, oh, okay, that's nice. You know what I mean? Have this kind of not awkward vibe, but just kind of I don't even know how to explain it, but Brown and Bendy explains it perfectly. But they're just kind of interesting, okay, type of energy. And so Dominique was saying that she had to remind herself that maybe she just can't talk about it with everybody. You know what I mean? Because she found that she was doing that. And she stopped doing that. And that she would go to her nail tech, and she would just really wouldn't talk anymore. Not like me, but just basic small talk. She just wouldn't have a lot of conversation. And I get it now. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how I felt. And I was like, okay, so I felt that. And I'm like, okay, now let's go deeper. Why did you feel that? And I said, I think I felt it because it brought up some childhood wounds. Like, it's some trauma there. And I remembered there were times when I used to get called out for talking too much, right? And I used to get, I was humiliated a lot when I was younger. I was embarrassed a lot. I was teased a lot. And I would get made fun of for talking, because I talked a lot, especially as a kid. And it always seemed to be a problem that I talked a lot. And I was told that I, would ask questions too much. And it got to the point where I would get in trouble just for talking. And then I would be told that you always say stupid things, like, you just talk just to hear yourself talk. You just talk too much. So, and you say dumb things. It's just stupid stuff comes out your mouth. So just stop talking. Like, it's that. And I remembered that, like, it came up when I was trying to figure out why I felt that, what I thought was embarrassment. But I realize now that it's not embarrassment. It's a feeling of shame. That's what it is. It's shame. I think I'm just realizing that it's shame. And it's like, I felt shameful that maybe I had said something stupid, or that I said something that that maybe may have been just taken as me just talking crazy or something. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Which, again, this is a me issue. Absolutely nothing to do with Todrick Hall, because Todrick Hall is wonderful, right? Bless for sitting there and listening to me. But that's a me issue. That's something that I have to learn, because this is not the first time, you know what I mean, that I've had this experience. But I just have to be more mindful that everybody doesn't subscribe to manifestation and law of attraction and stuff like that. And some people are more religious than spiritual, so obviously if someone is more religious, they really may not subscribe to it. But I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was like, well, you just pretty much eat, sleep, and breathe manifestation. Like, this is what you do. You're always saturating your mind with it. You study it. We're always manifesting anyway, and you always talk about that, and you're always learning about it, and you practice it all the time. And so you have it on the brain. Like, that's what your brain is now. And I'm sure if I said to you that, hey, I thought of a cheeseburger, and then suddenly someone brought me a cheeseburger, you'll say, girl, you manifested that cheeseburger. And I said, I probably would tell you that. You know what I mean? And she's right. Because I know we are always manifesting. We're always co-creating with the universe. And so, yes, everything is a manifestation. But I know for a fact that this circumstance that happened, that everything that happened with this Todrick Hall experience was a pure manifestation. I know that for a fact. So I think I was just so excited at the fact that this is a pure deliberate manifestation. Like, I thought this and it materialized. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I thought it in a particular way, in a particular order, and it showed up even better than what I could have expected. For me, that is a deliberate manifestation. And I think I just wanted to share it with him, and then use it as maybe a catalyst for encouragement for him, because he did mention in his show that, he was having a rough day earlier, and, people come for him a lot and stuff like that. So I definitely wanted it to be encouraging and uplifting that, the universe is always listening and your prayers are always being answered. So I definitely hope that it translated as something positive and uplifting and inspiring. So as far as I go, I know that's something that I need to work on, because it's not just this one isolated incident. It's been multiple things where sometimes I feel because I don't want to feel like I'm pushing my current, beliefs or my journey or my experiences or anybody else, you know what I mean, either. So, and I also don't want to be looked at as the person who's just talking crazy, or the crazy person, and like, okay, what is she talking about? Why is she talking about it? It's that. And I don't want to, go back to the whole, okay, stop talking because everything you say is stupid childhood voice either. And so that's just something I need to work on. So I'm glad that this experience happened, because maybe I needed to say that. Maybe I needed to tell him that story, because had I not told him that story, this feeling would not have come up for me to address. And maybe that's why I haven't wanted to, pursue anything about speaking and doing more. Maybe I don't know. Maybe this is why I'm not as consistent with doing my videos. Maybe subconsciously there's a program running that thinks that people don't care about what I say, because people think that what I say is stupid and it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know, but it's a possibility now because I had that experience. So once again, thank you, Todrick, because it brought to the surface an aha moment and something that I really needed to address, something that I can look at about myself. You know what I mean? And again, has nothing to do with Todrick Hall, because Todrick Hall is an amazing person. He was so sweet. He's obviously, I don't know him personally, but the little bit of time that we had together, he was very nice. He was, he was very sweet. And so I can't wait until he does another tour, because I will be in the front again. And I will be, if he does another meet and greet, I will be right there again, and I'll probably have another gift for him again. So go see his show if you haven't. If he's probably coming to a city near you, definitely check him out. And Todrick, if you're watching, or if anybody out there in YouTube land who knows Todrick, I love you so much. And I hope you thought I was not being weird when I told you that. I was just expressing my gratitude for you and just letting you know just how powerful you are and we are as human beings, how we can call forth anything into our lives. So much so that over a year ago, I was sitting in my living room slash office watching you on the computer, simply just putting out into the universe how I would love to have an experience of watching you live and being in your presence and just meeting you and giving you a beautiful painting customized just for you. And fast forward to 2022, it actually materialized. That's how powerful we are. And I wanted it to inspire you and uplift you. And it came from a place of love, just to remind you that circumstances don't matter. It doesn't matter what anybody else wants to say about you or try to do to you or whatever. This is your reality. And you get to dictate how your life is going to go. And I know you know this. I know you know this. And you're amazing. And all of that was said with love. And I was not trying to be weird. I was just trying to tell you just to be encouraged. Be encouraged, friend. Be encouraged. And because the universe is always listening and your prayers are always being answered. Because mine were because I got to meet you. I got to meet you. Dream come true. I got to meet you. So, Todrick, if you're listening, I love you and I can't wait for your next tour because I want to see you again. And anybody out there who knows Todrick, give him this message, and it's all said with love. So I hope that this video helped somebody out there. Hope it uplifted you all. And I hope that it just lets you know that you can be, do, or have anything that you want. The universe is always listening to you. You don't have to know how it's going to come. You don't have to know when it's going to come. Just trust that it's coming. Don't stress about it. Just let it go. Just set your intention and just know that it's going to happen. Just know that it's going to happen. I know it can be hard sometimes, but do your best. You are where you are, but just try not to dwell on it. Try not to stress about it. Try to distract yourself from it, because it is going to transpire through the path of least resistance. Remember, your thoughts become your things. Just say, like Roxy Talks always says, just say that everything is working out for you, best case scenario, even if you don't believe it yet. Just say that it is. Just say that it is. That's it. And the more you say it, the more you're going to start seeing evidence of it. And you're going to start believing it. And things will just always work out for you somehow, some way. That is how I've been operating for my life. You talk about operating from faith and not by sight. I'm telling you, walk by faith and not by sight. That is so real. That is so real. It doesn't matter if you're religious or not. Walking by faith and not by sight, right? Trusting in that which you cannot see and just operating from your desire. Not even knowing how the outcome is going to go. Just affirming what you want. Neville Goddard talks about it. He's a great resource. I love Neville. So is Joseph Murphy. You just got to dwell in the end. For some people that doesn't work. For me, it has worked wonders. Do what works for you. Whatever technique works for you, that is what works. Do whatever works for you. I appreciate you. Thank you all. Definitely like, share, subscribe if the spirit moves you. Go see Todrick's show if you want to get your life. Okay. It was a great show. It was fantastic. You'll have a blast. And thank you all so much. I appreciate you. Take care.